Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. Today, I want to talk about how debt controls your life and how to actually try to get a hold out on debt. I realize that debt is majority problems that we actually induce on ourselves. Meaning that when I talk to people, either be about saving their money, investing their money, anything they're dealing with their money, they don't give me valid reasons. They give me excuses that equate to them being in debt. Now, this is a harsh reality that a lot of us don't want to come to grips with because it's going to cause a change in our lives. We understand that these changes in our lives are for the better. If you're not changing, you're not evolving. Okay. If you're not evolving, you're not transforming. That means you are still stuck in the same position, in the same thinking that you have always done your entire life. But you keep saying to yourself these couple of things that most people deal with, even myself. One is, how do I get out of debt? Then you get taught how to get out of debt, but you then don't do those things to get out of debt. Two, how do I lose weight? You get taught how to lose weight, or you have so many different forms of information and places where you can go to get it, but then you make excuses why you can't lose weight. Thirdly, you want to do something better with your life. Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to go on a vacation, and you continue to make excuses based upon all the other excuses you made in your life. The reason why you're not doing these things. So how do you break the cycle of pain? How do you break the cycle? It takes a decision. I know for me, the one thing I did for myself is when I was highly in debt, when I was highly in debt coming out of college. And the problem is I had a football scholarship. I still was in debt because I was doing very dumb things over and over and over again, because it is a consistent mindset that we need to break. And a lot of us blame who? We blame our kids, believe it or not. Oh, I'm in debt because, my son, my daughter wanted this, that, and the other. Or you get it from your parents. When are you going to take ownership of your own actions? Because it's so easy to blame everyone else other than yourself. Now, yesterday, I did a video right here on the beach. Well, from my window, I might do one on the beach if the Wi-Fi reached that far, because AT&T sucks. But no, I hope they don't hear this. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, what are some of the things that you can do? Because what I realized, I can give you guys the debt snowball method, the debt avalanche method. I actually give you strategies and methods on how to work on your debt. But some of you are you're so committed to being in pain. You're so committed to being impoverished. You're so committed to being poor. You're so committed to doing the same damn thing over and over again and then blaming everybody else. Don't you know I'll talk to people and they'll blame the government. Oh, I'm in debt because they were supposed to give me this check that they never got to me. Well, how did you get into this much debt? Well, I wanted to furnish my apartment. So what I did was I went out and got a personal loan, or I did one of those rent-to-own places, which is absolutely the worst idea that you can ever do. What I realized, there is not one way that one person has ever gotten to debt. What I mean is there's many ways of you getting in debt, but there's only a few simple ways of you getting out of debt. All right, good afternoon, Courtney Power, and good afternoon, Miss One. Nice to see you guys in the chat room. But nonetheless, and at any time anybody want to chime in, give their person account or statements of either how they got into debt and or how they got out of debt, please let me know. I will make sure that I'll leave the link right here so you guys can chime in at any time. There's the link. If you guys want to join in at any time, please let me know so you can give your own personal account, because I don't want my platform, and I said this last week, I don't want my platform to be solely an investment platform, even though that is how you 10 times your money. I mean, case in point right here. Case in point right here. Here's my portfolio, okay? Here's my portfolio. I'm up, I think last week I was up 102. I'm up right now 101. So that's a 1-for-1. Now, if you notice, in the past 2 weeks, my portfolio went from 16,000 to 19,000. And I think I only allocated an extra $200 within my portfolio. So a lot of people are looking at investments. They're looking at all these big digits. And granted, for some people, 19,000 is not a lot of money. For other people, 19,000 is not a lot of money. Now, for me, I'm gonna say I'm in the middle about it. It just depends on what you do for 19,000. Now, when you're talking about when you're talking about the US and how most Generation X and also millennials don't have $10,000 in the bank. So $19,000 is a lot of money to those people. So when people see all these investments, like, oh man, I should invest in this, invest in that. My first thing is, oh, whoa, hold up. Okay, hold what you got. Okay, you going 100 and you haven't even went 15 miles per hour yet, meaning you haven't worked on those little things that really attack your finances. Okay, because here's the thing, whether it's COVID-19 or not, I wouldn't have enough money to come and spend time at the beach, okay, in a different country. I wouldn't have time to do that because, I say, hey, I've been struggling. I won't say struggling. I've been working hard all year, busting my butt. We need a vacation, okay? We need a vacation. I saw people vacationing. I was like, oh, so vacation's up. Let me go take a vacation. But what did I do prior to that in order to take a vacation? Because everybody keeps saying, man, should I invest in this stock? And then I ask them, say, how much debt you got? Oh, well, I got this personal loan. Well, wait a minute, hold up. It's kind of like you need to take care of your household before you venture out and do different things. And see, if you don't have a steady foundation, if you don't have a real structural base, then all that's going to come crumbling down if the stock market crashes. It is, because this is what you're banking on. And I've said this a couple of times, that you can shave money off your investment, right? So take, for instance, like very popular, which is a great example, is NEO. NEO has been up tremendously, correct? So if you're up with NEO and you say, well, I got 200 stocks, I'm trying to purchase this, I'm trying to invest in this, let me sell 50 shares of my NEO, and that'll be about enough money that I actually need. But what if the stock market crashed and you were spending all that money? Okay, you was investing all that money in your portfolio, but guess what you still have? You still have debt. Then a lot of us get very depressed. We start to build anxiety, don't we? Yes, we do. Then we start to finger point. Well, if I wasn't with this woman who wanted everything, I wouldn't be in debt. If I wasn't with this man who can't get a job because he said he lost it in COVID-19, then we wouldn't be in debt. Or, I got these really bad ideas, or I got this really bad habit from my parents. Or it's because my kids, I always want to do good for my kids. Your kids should not be the cause of your in debt. And granted, this is a very touchy subject because you want to take care of your kids to the best of your ability. But don't forget, when you raise your kids, when you feed your kids and clothe your kids and house your kids, which is really, that's all you need to do. Of course, you need to nurture them and care for them, and hopefully you love them, and hopefully you give them some skills, you give them some tools to be successful. But nonetheless, you should not be going in debt for your kids. You absolutely should not be going in debt for your kids. If you're going in debt for your kids, you are a fool. You are a fool. I just hate to say it. You are a fool if you are going in debt with your kids. And a lot of us, especially Generation X, if you're part of Generation X, you know how some of our parents use our credentials, use our information in order for another line of credit, in order to rent furniture, in order to get a cell phone, in order to get a phone line, in order to get cable. You know some of these things, but some of you guys are so stuck in this cycle of pain and repeating what your parents have been doing. It's absolutely killing your finances, and debt is controlling you. Now, debt is an entity, okay, unfortunately, that has been created by us humans that is now taking control of our lives and causing us much stress. COVID-19 has really lifted the lid, has really put a magnifying glass on almost every aspect of our lives. Whether it be your personal relationship, you realize that you can't stand the person you're with because guess what? You're with that person every day, every hour, and you realize we got some things in common, but he or she get on my nerves. He or she is not smart as I thought they were, but it put a big magnifying glass on your finances. And now, through the midst of this pandemic, see, it's not only a medical pandemic, this pandemic is also affecting you financially. It's affecting you financially. And you're trying to figure out, what can I do so I can eat the next meal? What can I do to keep the lights on? And this is something you should have been handling way before COVID-19, way before the pandemic. But now you're in the midst of trouble that you possibly can't get yourself out of. So how do we go about doing those particular things? I want you to be very, very cognizant of those things and how to get yourself out of. Because if you do, or versus if you don't, you're going to be in a great world of trouble. So there's methods out there like the debt snowball method, okay, the debt avalanche method. But in order to get those things absolutely correct, it's something you have to must change first in your life. How are you going to change those things in your life? Right? Because there's a decision. It's only a decision. It's only a decision. I had someone did a comment up here, and he said, Courtney Power says, I still don't know how to lose weight, but I'm trying. Courtney, I don't want to call you out because you know how to lose weight. You know how to lose weight. You eat less than what you have. You eat less than what you've already been eating. You eat healthy fruits and vegetables. Okay. You intermittent fast. So there's a lot of things that you can do to lose weight. I mean, a lot of these things with the internet and Google, there's so many things, so much access that we have to information in order to make our lives better. But the only thing we're doing, we're making excuses. That's all it is, right? That's all we're doing is making excuses. So, I mean, really, what is your excuse now that you have the information? What is the excuse now that we have the information? Because I want to know, are you in a better place now that COVID-19 is in the midst and now that all of these rates and cases are rising, or are you in the worst place? Because did you know, look at this. I want to show you this again. Give me a second. I want to show you this again because some of us are doing better during COVID-19 than most people. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Let me see. Yeah. Some of us are doing better during COVID-19 than previous years. Now, the way I invest has primarily got my portfolio up at least 60%. But I always, my aim, my bottom mantra is 20%, but I've got up to 100%. So that's actually well. But how do you get here? You have to handle your debt. You have to handle your debt. Now, there are some debt that I really don't home on. I don't really speak too much. I don't concentrate on that much. Like whether you have a car debt or a house debt. And don't let people fool you. If you're paying a mortgage just like me, paying a mortgage is a liability. It's not an asset. Unless you're renting out of rooms and those people who are renting out your rooms are paying enough to cover your house. Because now I'm not talking about your real estate. That's business debt. That's what I call good debt, because good debt brings in revenue, brings in yield, brings in money. But let's talk about other things like if you're living in your household, okay, if you're living in your household and you're paying a mortgage, it's not about, oh, that's an asset because the equity I built up into it. And okay, when does that equity become valuable? It's actually a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket and your money is coming back in. It's kind of like it's being built up in the background. Like it's kind of like residual being built up, but you don't have access to that money, correct? So those are the things that we have to look at, because if you don't have access to that money, then essentially it's just taking money out of your pocket. It's just taking money out of your pocket. So when we talk about debt, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically a decision that you have to make in order to get yourself out. And if you make that decision, like, you know what? I want to get out of debt. I want to get rid of my personal loan. I want to get rid of my credit cards, because most of us Okay, as a conglomerate group, most of us have what? Large credit card debt. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 credit cards where we have large sums. Okay, we have large sums of debt on them. And it takes a simple method as a debt snowball method in order to get that out, in order to rectify that. So when we look at debt, we first have to what? Work on our budget. I will continue to preach and teach this until people start to say, you know what? I created my budget and now I understand how to get out of debt. Now I understand how to get out of debt. That's what we need to understand. And it's really a basic method. The one I love absolutely that I agree to that actually helped me was the 100% snowball method. Okay, the snowball method. All right. So let me read some of your comments here. We got, do you invest in index dividend stocks? Yes, in my Vanguard account. That's kind of like I'm hedging my total investing portfolio, okay? My total investment environment, right? Where you'll have index and ETFs and also government bonds. I like government bonds, corporate bonds. I don't like junk bonds. Junk bonds, you can make some good money there, but you can lose a lot of money when it comes to junk bonds. But that's how essentially when people start saying hedging, they mean like kind of insurance, whereas though if the market is not performing so well, when you have bonds, you're going to perform well. And most likely, even though index and ETF funds fluctuate, they've consistently given 7 and 10%. So you're not really getting a lot of your return on individual stocks, but you're doing a lot of good stuff. So see, Courtney Power says, what is the snowball method? So this method is so easy to do that literally it's so easy. So basically, let's say, for instance, you had three to four debts, right? Arbitrary numbers. You had 3 to 4 debts. Let's just say you had a debt for 2,000, debt for 4,000, debt for 6,000. So on the debt for 4,000 and 6,000, you're gonna pay the absolute minimum. You're not gonna pay $1 or a penny over. You're gonna pay the minimum. Then all additional money that you have left over from once you pay your mortgage or rent and your utilities and food, right? Your car note, all that stuff. The money you have left over, the money that you used to take and blow at the, shopping for clothes or taking a trip or something, you don't use that money for that. You use that money to wipe away that $2,000 debt. So that could be anywhere from $150 to $350, wherever how much money you have left over. As you are attacking that particular lowest debt, once you get rid of that debt, then you take that minimum balance you was paying on that $4,000 debt, correct? Then you apply all the money that you was paying to the $2,000 debt and apply it to the $4,000 debt. And you wipe that away and you continue and you continue and continue. And that snowball, the debt snowball starts to get bigger as you're wiping away your debt. That's kind of the strategy, the method. So it's very, very easy. Again, you go from the lowest amount. Don't look at percentages. That's the snow avalanche, the debt snow. I forgot how to go. The debt snowball, the debt avalanche method. Okay, that's a debt avalanche method when you're talking about looking at percentages. But when we're looking at the amounts, okay, again, you're handling the smallest amount first as you start to get to the largest amount. Very easy to do. Very easy to do. Here's the thing. Here's the one thing that I've noticed that people don't do. Sacrifice. That's the hardest work because we give ourselves excuses. We say, well, I work so hard and I deserve this, I deserve that. Well, who put you in debt? Did you put you in debt? Then what that tells me is if you put yourself in debt, that means you're not deserving of some of the things that you think you're deserving of because you made bad decisions and you have to pay for those bad decisions. Okay, there's repercussions for your bad decision when it comes to that. I remember living in DC. I wanted, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to have this appearance that I was doing well, and I wanted my, apartment to be furnished. So I went to Court Furniture. I know some of you guys heard of Court Furniture, and this is when I actually went in, called Court, and I was paying like $200 something to actually rent all this furniture. And, a buddy came and said, hey, man, this is really nice furniture, I said, oh, yeah, man, I just pay $200 something a month. He said, wait a minute, you're renting this furniture? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's stupid. He said, the only thing you need, man, is like, first, You save 2 months, you got $500, go buy you a bed. Go buy you a mattress or whatever. Then you buy you a bed and then start piecing those things together. Don't you know, I took his advice, and within 6 months, I had a fully furnished apartment. But then I look at the other 6 months, right, that I was paying for court, 200 and some odd dollars, where when I told them I didn't want it no more after the little contract I had, they came and took all the stuff. Like, this is stupid, because they have a program that was like, oh, rent to own. There's so many ways we get in debt, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely stupid how we go about getting in debt. Okay. Stephen Young said, yeah, I messed myself up badly. I need help. Well, Stephen Young, if you guys, go to my website, which is rawsworldfinancial.com. That's rawsworldfinancial.com. I'm here to help you guys. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I have that link. I have that link in the description for you guys to click in case you want to come in live with me, either with or without your video. And if you have, some good stories about how you got out of debt, or maybe you have some bad stories to help people along the way not to get into debt. Okay. Because I hate to owe people money, right? But you can use credit cards in a very positive manner, like I do, for points and buying clothes and flying. But it takes discipline. It takes discipline. It amazes me. And whoever's listening right now, do me a favor. Do me a favor in the chat. Do me a favor in the chat. If you have a budget, raise your hand. If you have a budget, meaning it's not in your head, it's actually on paper, or it's actually in an application or platform. If you have a budget, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have a budget. Let me know. I want to know who has a budget. Raise your hand if you have a budget, please. I'm going to work on some stuff over here. I'm still going to wait for you guys to reply. I want to see who has a budget in the chat. I think that's very important that we first start off there. Give me 1 second. Can anybody tell me who has a budget in the chat? All right. Anybody? Tell me who has a budget. I have a budget for my bills. Okay, Courtney. Now, do you have a budget for your entire financial life, period? Meaning income or incomes coming in. Do you have that? And then expenses of all of your income going out. So Maddox says he has a budget. Stephen Young has a budget. So Stephen, tell me, if you have a budget, sir, how are you? Well, no, you said you're climbing yourself out. Okay, you said you're climbing yourself out. Let me go back up. Oh, you said you need help. So if you have a budget, you've already conquered the first step of getting out of debt. If you have a real budget, okay, and here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, your budget is a living document. Every month, you should be going over your budget. This is how you get yourself out of debt. Every day, you should be going out your budget. How much money I have going in, how much money I have going out, and what are your expenses? Because that's what I'm talking about, your money going out. What are you spending your money on? Is it food? Is it activity? Is it clothes? Is it furniture? Is it stupid stuff? Is it gadgets? Is it memberships? Is it entertainment? Because believe it or not, a lot of us spend a lot of money on entertainment. And I know me and my household, the past 2 weeks, we ate out more than we did the whole year. Okay, we ate out more than we did the whole year. And that's not the right thing to do. That's not part of our usual way we go about our money. But once we get back, again, I told people this. We're going on an extreme saving spree. Extreme saving spree where we're going to be trying to compete. We're only going to buy those things we need. And our first thing is we're going to do 3 months, right? Because I said, let's do a year. I said, you know what? I just thought about it. Let's do at least 3 months to see how much money we can actually save in 3 months. I mean, anything that we have to pay, like bills that keep the house running, we're going to pay. But after that, all the extra money, let's just throw it in the savings account. All the money. I mean, extreme spree savings, okay? That is what we're looking at. And that's what you guys should come on this ride with me now. A lot of you can't afford to wait until next year. I don't now here's the thing, Stephen. I'm gonna say this to you, Stephen. You go to rossworldfinancial.com. I do a 15-minute consultation, absolutely free, so we can see some of the problems, and then whether you like my help or not. I mean, no pressure here. We're gonna go over your financials, see where you need help out. You say, yeah, man, I'm gonna take your service. Oh, nah, I'm gonna go a different route. That's fine. That's fine. And, you know, I'm still here to help you even on my platform, because a lot of information I give here, you know, the information that people pay for is a little bit different. How I go and I comb through your life. I really do. So don't be bashful. Don't be shy. I want to know everything. How much you spend on food, what type of food you eating. All of this means something, because I know and understand that when you eat healthy food, you spend more money. When you eat junk food, you spend less money. And here's what another things that people don't understand. Do you believe when you eat healthy food that you can actually decrease your medical bills? That's what people don't understand. If America would try to teach people how to eat healthy versus prescribing them medicines because they're unhealthy, we will have less medical problems and people will spend less money on the medical industry. Thus, you'll have more money in your pocket, but that's not the way it's set up. They would rather have you in debt. That is the scam that's being ran here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So Steve, go and visit rossworldfinancial.com and go ahead and schedule your consultation. Now, this week has been blocked out. Okay. I'm on vacation, just like everybody else. Brother got to take a vacation, but nonetheless, I'm open all next week. Okay. For anybody who wants that, you know, that service, I do a free consultation, but I really want you guys to make that decision. And I can say, oh, make that decision today, you know, kind of give you that motivational speak. That don't work. You have to make that decision on your own. Somebody up on the internet trying to motivate you to make the decision, and just like you're in church, they preaching and teaching and everything sounds good. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make that decision today. And you really didn't, because this is a heart and mind thing, right? This is a heart and mind thing. When you see something online that you want, you made the decision up here to buy it. You knew it was going to put you more in debt. You knew that it's going to take food off the table. You knew that you'll have to sacrifice your utilities at some point or not. But you're willing to sacrifice to buy a piece of junk that you really don't need. Okay? Let's see here. Steve says, I don't get the flu. I get a mild cold once every other year. I eat relatively healthy. That's good. That's good, brother. But we're gonna talk about, when you do that consultation, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna help you with your financial needs. So again, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm chatting here, if anybody is not shy, you can chime in with me either with your video, without your video, with the link that you see in the chat. I'm here to answer any of your questions. Okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, let me look at my portfolio. Again, this is about debt, but when you're out of debt, you can do certain things. Okay. There's certain things you can do when you're outside of debt. Now my portfolio is up to 102%, as you see. And so I'm still doing pretty good. Okay. So Maddox, Stacker session. What do you mean? I'm unfamiliar with Stacker. I appreciate you too, Steve. Man, I'm glad a lot of people are not bold enough and have enough courage to come out and say, hey, I need help. Okay. Because that literally is the first step. You know, first I have an issue, I have a problem. And then the second is I need help, because people will acknowledge, you know, yeah, man, I got a little problem, but I'm going to work on it. But I tell everybody, even with me, you know, trying to lose weight, we had a personal trainer. You need a mentor. You need a guide. You need someone who's going to help you through those moments, because you may know all the information. You may know everything that you need to know, but you need someone who's going to connect the dots. Someone who's going to reinforce the methods and strategies. Someone who's going to be accountable. Like, hey, did you do this? Why didn't you do that? Because I'm not a type of person who's going to beat you above the head like, oh, you stupid. You didn't. No, I don't do that. But what I do, I ask direct questions. I'm going to ask questions like, why didn't you do this? I thought we had a strategy. I thought we had a plan. What stopped you from carrying out the plan? This is your mission. Here are your orders. Okay. And if you do this, you want to be successful. A lot of people don't get this in their early life. I know I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I know within my family, they didn't teach us finances because they didn't know about finances. They just knew that they get some money and then they pay off their bills. And then after that, they went to go to Atlantic City. They went partying and clubbing and stuff like that. So my question is, you might just need someone that you can be accountable to. You may know you may have all the information, and I can be that person that will account for it, because we're going to go through it. We want to say, hey, why didn't you do this? Well, how can we accomplish this? Because essentially, if you have kids, if you have a significant other, how are you going to leave anything to them if you don't have yourself right? How are you going to have anything to them? Here's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, I need to leave $1 million to my significant other if I die, and I'm going to get life insurance. No. Even though she's right here. If I leave her $1,000, I'm still putting her in a better place than she was before. Okay? Think about that. If you leave somebody money when you die, it doesn't matter the amount. You are putting them in a better place than they was before. We either be $1,000 or $10,000, $10,000 or $50,000, life insurance or no life insurance. You have done what you're supposed to do to leave a legacy. Okay, because here's the thing. Let's just take, for instance, right? You have a goal. You say, you know what? I want to get out of debt and I want to start building generational wealth. And some of you are just thinking generational wealth, that's millions of dollars. No, it don't have to be millions of dollars. Because here's the thing. If you leave somebody a house, if you leave somebody $10,000, do you know what you can do with $10,000? In the right city, in the right town, do you know what you can do with $10,000? $10,000 can be a real estate investment. $10,000 can be a investment for stocks and stocks and commodities, and you can times 2 that, you can times 3 that, you can times 10 that over time. And that $10,000 is now what? $100,000. That $100,000 is now what? $1 million. So the next generation of your family now has $1 million. You get what I'm getting at? So if I leave, think about it like this. If I die. I was like, I'm trying to build generational wealth for my family, and I leave my son $10,000. My son then takes that $10,000 and builds a business. Because I also have a video, it was years ago, how to build a business with $5,000. But anyway, he takes that $10,000 and he builds a business with that $10,000. That business is now worth $100,000, and he leaves that to his kids, and his kids do the same thing and repeat and reinvent. That is how Caucasians, that is how Asians have built generational wealth. It built upon something. It's coming like, I set the base. The base is the $10,000. And then my son and my other family members comes in, they put on brick by brick by brick by brick, and we are building generational wealth. It wasn't like one guy that started off, he just started doing tremendous. It's like he opened one store. He opened one store and he left that store to his son. His son took the helm, he took the reins, and he built on that store. And then he opened up another store. And he probably in his lifetime, he built up 2 or 3 more stores. And he left to his sons and daughters. And now his sons and daughters have 4 or 5 stores. And then they build, he teaches them the business, and he builds them. Now, every now and again within a generation, it's going to be a generation that makes some bad decisions that possibly not cause the business to bankrupt, but hurt just a little bit, kind of like Walmart. Because when Sam Walton was in, I heard Sam Walton did great business. That's why Walmart was built up so quickly. And his kids came in and did some very cheap things. But nonetheless, Walmart is still here. And I don't see Walmart going nowhere for the next 10 or 20 years. That means that Sam Walton did what he was supposed to do, right? He came out with our first store, and then he started branching out. Then he had Sam's Club, okay? So on and so forth. So think about it. You don't have to have a lot of money to build generational wealth. But how are you going to build generational wealth if you're in debt? How are you going to build generational wealth if debt is control of your life? And you continue to blame everybody except you. Please explain that. Please explain that. We says Maddox is checking on Twitter. Build savings, invest, kill debt. Just cover the funeral and get a trust for your assets. Yeah, there's a couple of assets as far as trusts are concerned. You have your revocable, you have your revocable trust, and you have your irrevocable trust. So when you get to a certain status and a certain amount of cash or money that you absolutely don't need, I always tell people, hey, go to KISS, KISS trust, do an irrevocable trust, okay? Irrevocable trust. Put that money in an irrevocable trust for your kids or for your significant other, for whoever you're leaving that money to. That means, though, once you put that money in that irrevocable trust, you can't touch it either. It's only left for them. You say, oh, they can access it when they're 20 or 21 or 25 or when I die. They can access it when I die because I'm the breadwinner. And so as long as I'm alive, they're going to be good. So when I die, they can access that, okay? So there's different things you can do with your assets when it comes to trust as well. So that's a really good point that Maddox made, everybody. Said Maddox also said invest now or get out of debt first. Oh, no. Get out of debt first. And what I mean is, now, let's just exclude your car and your house. Let's exclude that. But credit cards, I don't care how much you have in your credit cards. I don't care how much you have in your credit cards. Okay. And what I mean is, if you have over 30% utilization on your credit card, you're in debt. Now, granted, let's be technical here. If you have $1 on your credit card, you're in debt. You're in debt if you have $1 on your credit card because you owe somebody $1. Now, I want to be more realistic. If you have over 30% utilization on your card, you're in debt, because that is when that debt on your card really affects your credit score. That's why they tell you, essentially, if you have $1,000 on your credit card, as an example, don't go over 300. And what that means is, so take, for instance, it's November 11th. I'm just giving an arbitrary date. It's November 11th. And you go out and you spend $400 or $500 on that $1,000 card. Before the billing cycle, you need to get that under $300, because with that credit utilization, when it's over 30%, automatically reports to your credit report, and it begins to decrease your credit score, which entails, if you was in the market to buy a home or try to own a business and you need business credit or a line of credit, it's all going to hurt your chances of getting that. So you should always keep all of your cards below 30% utilization or at zero. See, I use my credit card as a method of buying clothes, as a method of shopping in other stores and frequent flyer miles, or even to pay off more off the credit card. So my credit cards can either pay off themselves or pay for clothes or pay for flights. It just depends. I've done that over the course of my time. So you have to use these instruments called credit cards, which can be very dangerous, as you well know, as a tool for you to get ahead of the game, not behind the game. Not behind the game. Because a buddy of mine who said, he actually uses credit cards to start his business. He said it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but he couldn't get a loan, but he had a $20,000 credit card. He said, I put 10 G's on it and I had to take a chance. And he did, and he won, and he paid it off. Is that a good method? I don't advise it. I say get out of debt first, with the exclusion of your car and your house, okay? Because one bad decision can lead to another bad decision, and that's when you start drowning in debt. Credit cards, man. Credit cards can have you drown in debt. Me personally, I want to say I have about 4 or 5 credit cards, but I only use like 2. The other ones just help my debt to income ratio to keep my credit score very high. Okay? That's what it does. And let me look at something else here as I'm talking to you guys. Ms. One, what do you mean by no? I don't know what you mean by that. Try to explain that as I'm looking through something, because I want to show you guys something that this occurred. Because every now and again I like to go in here and I show my credit score and the things I'm doing, because I want to be a good steward, and you guys, keeps me accountable for my actions, because I can't go in and bull jab you guys with that. So right now I'm looking through my stuff. I'm trying to get inside my account here. Give me 1 second. I got to do a security code. 1 second. But there's many methods in order for you guys to get out of debt, and hopefully that someone is taking heed from what I'm saying, because I'm absolutely trying to help somebody today. Now, at the end of the day, as I said, it's a decision Okay. It's a decision that you have to make. Let me look at this credit score really quickly before I put my foot in my mouth. Okay. Now I can show you guys. I'm just being real. I'm just being real, man. All right, let's look at this really quickly. Okay. Here's my current credit score with Navy Federal. Okay. My credit score went, if you guys saw it last time, was like a 730 something. So now it's up to a 676. And I'm just being a good steward. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything special when it comes to my credit score. And that's of November 4th, as you can see there. So Ms. One says, don't use credit cards in place of business funding unless you know for sure you can pay that balance in full under a year. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, I take a different strategy. I will agree, I take a different strategy. I don't like using my credit cards for no business. And a buddy of mine suggested that, he said, hey, when it comes to real estate, you do your research, there's a very small chance, there's a very small risk once you acquire the property and you rehab the property that you won't be able to rent it out or even flip it or sell it for a profit. There's a very small risk. And I'm just one of those people, like, I've been poor before. I've been homeless before. I wouldn't even imagine taking, leaving the country to take a vacation with my lady, or, living nice or not really worrying about. I just like, hey, I understand if I want to be rich, then there's risk. There's half of me that want to be rich. Then there's another half of me that want to be safe. And we know that scared money don't make money. So I created my own business, being a financial advisor, marketing all my services to people based upon the money I saved up. I was willing to save my money. I was willing to eat canned food for a moment instead of steak. I was willing to eat corned beef hash out of the can versus lobster in order to create my business. Okay. And I'm a type of person, I get into these moments where I can spend like crazy. Like, I ain't worried about that. Right? Then I get to these other moments like, no, I'm not spending a dime. No, wait a minute. How much? Wait a minute. How many gallons of gas is going to take me to get there? Can I put it in neutral and turn it off and cruise? Like, I'm just saying, that's how I get sometimes, because I know where I come from. And I'm not going to forget what me and my mother went through. I'm not going to forget being homeless. I'm not going to forget walking to my uncle's house to get 2 eggs to make myself an egg sandwich. I'm not going to forget eating cereal with water. I'm not going to forget these things. I'm not. And I think that's a big part of me. While not only do I want to keep myself afloat and doing well, also teach, my sons this same information. Like, hey, what are you doing with your money? Well, why did you do that? But at the same time, it's kind of like that fatherly love. Like, I want to question it, and also I want to correct it. But mainly when I'm realizing with kids, doesn't matter their age, you just kind of want to inform them. You don't want to tell them what they should and should not do. Like, what I think is a good idea if you at least start saving $100 a month, because when you get older, or just a year from now, it's going to help you to buy your first car. It's going to help you to get this. It's going to be in case you ever lose your job. You kind of give them these realistic things that can occur in their life versus you say, no, you should do this. And this is what I did, and you should do it too. Nowadays, kids not feeling that. Kids are not feeling it. You got to understand the mindset of kids with all this information coming in their eyes and ears, and they're being scrambled by all of this information. They're being confused. But if you just speak to them like one of their buddies, because they'll listen to this. These old school kids, they listen to their fathers and their mothers. These newscape kids, because they got people on all these social media platforms, everybody's talking to them. Because back in the day, before social media, you just had your parents. You just had your family. So you would take their advice. But now You have all these other suckers on all these different platforms and Twitter and YouTube and IG. They listen to everybody. So your best bet is like, they're not taking that direct approach of how to get out of debt or how to save up their money. Let me speak to them just a little bit different. Hey, son, hey, you ever thought about this? Like, saving $100 a month? You ever tried that? Because I believe that is important for you guys to do. You might have to change your strategy if you're trying to reach your kids when it comes to getting out of debt too. But before you teach your kids how to get out of debt, guess what? You have to be the example. Stop letting debt control your life. You have to be the example. Let me read some of your notes here. Some people seem like they're saying some good stuff. Let's see here. We got William Lewis. I pay cars weekly. Hey, me too. I do that too. I don't let 7 days go without applying some cash on my card. Due to my debt, I'm down to 705 FICO. Believe it or not, Stephen, you're still doing well when it comes to the national average credit score. Now, a lot of people are saying like 750. I'm always going to preach to 720. I feel like 720. I've done a lot of research. I took some courses about the 720 credit score that they treated like an 800. 720 is really all you need. But believe me, you're over, I think the national average. What's the national average credit score? Give me 1 second. National average. Give me 1 second. I'm only working with one screen today, ladies and gentlemen. That's why everything looks funky. I just brought my one computer. Okay, so look. I want you to look at this very quickly, Stephen. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this very quickly. Well, not that. Look at this. That is you have 705. So you have the national average. So you're doing pretty well. Now, could it get better? Of course. Now, this is for the first time, the average national credit score has reached 706, according to FICO, the developer of one of the most commonly used scores by lenders. FICO scores range from 300 to 850. A good score generally is above 700, and those over 760 are considered excellent. Okay, if you have over 760, you're considered excellent, but 700 is good. They said a good score is generally above 700. So they're talking about the national average of a good credit score, 706. But if you have 700, then you're still doing well. Okay, so you have to, you're doing still well. I know you probably want to even do better than that. You want to get rid of some debt. I absolutely got you. Like I said, go to rawsworldfinancial.com and book a consultation for next week, and I got you, brother. No big deal there. All right, I'm moving along. Let's see. One says the problem is over leveraging the debt, and now your score takes a hit and you don't qualify for the cash out refi. Absolutely. And basically what she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that your debt to income ratio is totally off. That's all she's saying. Your debt to income ratio is totally off. They're looking at the amount of money you have coming in versus the amount of money that you owe. And it's totally horrible for you to do anything with your finances. Again, if you have good credit and get that 0% or low introductory interest rate and have a contingency plan, can work. I agree with that as well. That's not a bad idea. Stephen Young, damn, cereal with water, that's sacrificing. I mean, as a kid, if you were drinking water, and here's the thing. When I was in school, I told the story a couple of times. When I was in elementary school and my mother was on welfare, right? Our milk came from the box. Our eggs came from the box. So in elementary, first grade, where does milk come from? I'm in there like, the box. And they're like, excuse me? Like, no, milk comes from cows. No, it doesn't. I was being dead serious. I've never seen milk come from a cow. I either seen it out of a carton or a box, but I knew my mom took the powdered milk and whipped it up and put it in a jug or something. And I was like, the box. And they was like, no, Ray, no. They're like, where do eggs come from? I'm like, the box. They're like, no, it comes from a chicken. Eggs from a chicken? This thing to me, a little kid, eggs from a chicken? Ah, hell no. It comes from the box. I ain't say hell no, but it comes from the box. Okay. So that's what I was getting at. Let's see here. Steven says, I was at 755 and 775 at one time, a short time just 2 years ago. I messed myself up with cash out refis. We got to talk about that, brother. David D. Crowder says, I'm so glad that I'm out of debt. I'm a free man. I can breathe much better. I paid off my car last year. I drove a 2013 Honda Elantra, and I have paid off it ever since 2016. Good job, brother. Good job. 30 plus and counting says, I hated powder milk and I'd rather have it dry. Eat the cereal dry. I don't like no powdered milk. And here's the thing, man. I'm telling you, when I talk about powdered milk and powdered eggs, it brings people back. Like, I remember you talking about, man. Like, and I had it with water. And like, once you have it with regular milk, which is, we know that regular milk now is bad for us. You should be doing like cashew milk, hemp milk, or coconut milk, because we won't get into the health thing. Okay. I'm trying to keep this financial because I'm the minister of wellness today, brothers and sisters. No, I'm kidding. The brother is smart. The brother is very, very intelligent. I think you guys should go visit his channel. He's very good. But when it comes to milk, we know that a lot of African Americans, and it doesn't really matter what race you are, a lot of people are lactose intolerant. 76% of African Americans are lactose intolerant. We should not be drinking milk, eating ice cream. It should just basically be almond milk, cashew milk, derivatives of real milk, okay? Because at the end of the day, I always tell people this. If you were supposed to drink milk, then why are you drinking it from another mammal like a cow versus a human being? When I tell people that if you drink milk, it should be from a human being, they go, oh, that's nasty. But you're drinking it from another cow who nurtures their calf off that milk. Are you a cow? Think about that. And I'll leave it right there. When we come to finances, cash out refis, I'm curious to understand how your cash out refi landed you in debt. You get what I'm trying to say? Unless those properties went belly up. That now I get, because here's the thing. The strategy that I was going about buying another property was going to be buy the property at 20 to 30% lower than asking price. Take that 30%, take that 20%, or even 15% and put that back inside the home. Rehab the home. From that moment on, wait 3 months, then do a cash out refi and buy another property. So we're going to talk about that, Stephen, when you set your meeting. Let's see here. Yes, I've been drinking non-dairy milk since 1982. Here's the thing, though. It's not about long. Here's my thing. I'm just going to talk about milk very quickly. Milk, period, from a cow, don't drink it. Do your research. That's all I'm going to say. Milk from a cow, don't drink it. Because some people are like, oh, there's no lactose. Is it from a cow? Oh, it's non-dairy. Is it from a cow? So that's why I'll get at that with that. Is it from a cow? Is it from a goat? Is it from another mammal other than a human being? Then if so, you're drinking somebody else's nourishment. Steven says here, bad decisions, cash out refi was for my own house. Bad idea. Yes, my brother, you are correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut it short right here. Like I said, I'm on vacation. I don't want to spend too much time here, have another meeting, but nonetheless, no cows, no mammals. Good. I'm going to cut it right here, but hopefully I've reached someone today. Because even though we talk a lot about finances, we talk a lot about investing, whether it be individual stocks, index, commodities, ETFs, option trading, because on my last video I did yesterday, I talked about, this is why I work so hard. I explained how I made $500 yesterday by selling an option. But nonetheless, you have to make the decision today to be out of debt and control your credit and raise your credit score. It takes a decision. You can't teach your kids anything about getting out of debt unless you are working on it or out of debt, because you need to be the example, because your kids will grow up to be teenagers, and those teenagers will grow up to be adults, and they say, well, mom, dad, are you doing it? This last week you said you had to pay and you didn't have enough money to pay off your credit card. Are you working on your debt? They will question you. So you have to be a good steward of your finances. You have to be a good example to your own kids, because those kids grow up to be adults and they will question you. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, hey, 7305, what about home equity lines of credit? Sister, I was just about to get off. I apologize. I got to go on my vacation. I Already been on here for what? Let's see how long I've been on here already. A long time. I think about an hour. But nonetheless, we'll talk about equity line of credit. I promise I will do equity line of credit. So let's say tomorrow evening, I got some excursions to go on. Hopefully it doesn't rain like it is now, but I have some excursions. But we'll talk about equity line of credit. I'll make sure I remember that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. And you guys get yourselves out of debt and make that decision whenever you're ready. And you'll know because you'll be tired of being broke. I'm out. You guys have a great day.